SEA today.
Alright, welcome back everyone to Ease Online Virtual Classroom. My name is Andre and this is SEA Today, presented by Ease Online Tutoring Services, exam success at your fingertips. So welcome back. We are here continuing to prepare for our upcoming SEA exams, and if you haven't done it as yet, to ensure you keep up with all our videos here on YouTube, hit subscribe and get your education as we continue to provide you with these practice tests to help you be fully prepared. Exam on this date is just 21 days away, and we've been at this for 15 weeks. So make sure that you check out our channel, see what content we have left to offer, as exams are now getting just within our reach, within that 3-week mark. So make sure and hit subscribe, share it with all your friends, and like the videos that you come across on the channel. Today we are going to get into a very interesting and special exercise in mathematics, because today we are doing mathematics practice test number 1, and these practice tests are provided by yours truly, Ease Online Tutoring Services, exam success at your fingertips. So we're going to take a look today at our first practice test from Ease Online. So make sure you have whatever stationery you need, make sure you have all your writing material, because as soon as the timer starts, we are going to start. All right, so if you're ready to get your education, let's get it. First question for today: what is the place value of the 3 in the number 254.13? What is the place value of the 3 in the number 254.13? So place values, we are familiar with the place values with no problem before the point, and we are now dealing with place values after the point. So these place values coming after the point have a similar name to the place values before the point. So if we just look at the place values before the point, this is ones, 4 ones, 5 tens, 2 hundreds. So when it comes to the point, what I do is I look at the point as ones, although it is not. I just look at it as ones just to help me realize that the first place value after the point is what is after ones, which is tens. And these place values after the point end in THS, so it's tenths. So this is actually 1 over 10, 1/10. And the place value after the tenths is similar to the place value after the tens, which is the hundredths. So it's spelled like 100, but it ends in THS. And just like the name implies, this is, well, decimals are fractions, so this is also a fraction like below, like 1/10, 3 over 100. So when they ask what is the value of the 3 of any number after the decimal point, we represent it in its fraction form, giving us a good idea of its size or its value. Alright, so that's it, 3 over 100. Make sure and memorize this, because this goes all the way up to CXC. Alright, so let's get on to the next question. Number 2, round 43521.56 to the nearest thousand. Alright, so we have the number 43,521.56, and they want us to round it off to the nearest thousand. Alright, So when we rounding off, the first thing we have to do is find the place value that they want us to round off nearest to, and in this case that is the 3, because this is 43,000, so this is 3,000. Draw a line, and what I do is I examine the number after the line. If this number after the line is 5 or more, that means I have to add 1 to the number before the line and put zeros for all the numbers coming after the line. As a full process, make sure and memorize that. This also goes all the way up to secondary school, so remember it. So this is no longer 43,521. It is now 44 because we added 1 to the 3, and the reason why we add zeros is to keep the value of the number. So we can't change 43,000 to 44. We have to add the zeros to make it 44,000. Alright? And that's the answer there. Next question. Write 35% as a fraction in its lowest terms. So, just like a decimal, a percent is actually a fraction, because percent means per, first part of the word, the prefix, means each or every, and this cent does not come from money, it comes from the word century, which represents 100. So percent basically means each or out of or every 100. So 35%, if we want to write it as a fraction, we have to take it and put it over 100. Alright, but we know we cannot leave a fraction in a form where it can be reduced, so we're going to reduce these two numbers using 5. 5 into 35 is 7, 5 into 100 is 20. So we remain with 7 over 20. Alright? And that's the fraction in its lowest terms. Next question. Calculate 5 and 1 over 4 plus 6 and 2 over 5. So what we're going to have to do first of all, once we are adding or subtracting fractions, we have to find the LCM of the denominators. If the numbers in the fraction part are not the same, you have to do LCM, and LCM stands for lowest common multiple. It's very important for us to be aware of that term or that word lowest, because you have to pull out the lowest number that you can divide on the outside here. So 2 can go into 4, giving us 2 here. 2 cannot go into 5, so we write back 5. So once I have an even number on the inside, I will always use 2, because that will always be the lowest number that can go into the number. So 2 into 2 here now is 1. 2 into 5 can't, so I write back 5. And 5 is actually a prime number, so the only number that can go into 5 is 5. So now what we have to do is take these numbers on the outside of the LCM part and multiply them to get the LCM. 2 by 2 is 4, times 5 is 20. So we have an LCM, so we're going to change our denominator to common number is 20. And then we start by adding our whole numbers. 5 plus 6 is 11. And then the process of this part goes like this. You have to take the denominators now and divide 4 into 20 is 5. 5 multiplied by the number on top of the 4. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus, do the opposite side. 5 into 20 now is 4. 4 times the number on top. 4 twos are 8. and that's the process. That is something you need to repeat 100 times if you have to, because you're going to be adding a lot of fractions in your mathematics life. All right, so now that we have done all of that, we can just add up now. 11 is the whole number, 5 plus 8 is 13, and then we put the same denominator as before. So that's our final answer, 11 and 13 over 20. Alright, next. Adrian shared his chocolates with Samantha. He had 40 chocolates and gave her 1/5. How many chocolates did Samantha get? Alright, so anytime we have a total or a whole number, in this case we have 40, and they want us to find out what is a fraction of that, a part of that, a piece of that. We have to multiply by the fraction. Alright, later on in this we will most likely see where we have to do the opposite, where we have a fraction and we have to find the total. So when we find a fraction of the total, we multiply, and the game in multiplying is reduce then multiply. So we know that these two numbers are actually divisible or can be reduced using 5, because we know 5 times tables. 5 into 5 is 1, 5 into 40 is 8. So we're gonna get 8 times 1 on top, which is 8. This 5 is not a part of it, that was what we used to reduce. And 1 times 1 below, which is 1. So how many chocolates did Samantha get? Well, she got 8 chocolates. Alright, next question. 1.35 kg equals blank g. So this is mass, kilograms versus grams, and in order for us to convert this to grams, we have to know the conversion. 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. But they are not asking about 1 kilogram, they're asking about 1.35 kilograms. So in order to find that out, we have to take the 1.35 and multiply it by 1,000 grams. That will give us grams. And there's actually a nice trick when you're multiplying by numbers like 1,000, 100, or 10. These numbers allow us, when we're multiplying or dividing, to just move our point. So we're going to take our point from here and move it 3 times. Why? Because we have 1, 2, 3 zeros in 1,000. If it was 100, we had 2 zeros, we move it twice. If it was 10, it's 1 0, we move it once. So we're going to move our point 3 times. 1, 2, 3. The point ends up, it moves from here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll mix up there. So in this empty space, we're going to add a 0 into our number, and that gives us our final answer, where the point is no longer by the 1, it is now at the end. So we're multiplying, so we move the number to the right, moving the point to the right. Moving the point to the right makes the number bigger, which is what happens when we multiply. So this would be 1,350 grams. Alright, next question. 11 squared plus 29. Alright, so 11 squared is actually one of the square numbers you have to learn. Please learn all of our square numbers from 1 all the way up to 12. So 11 squared, this 2 here is also called a power, and this power is very, very powerful because it can change a small number like 2, could change a number like 11 and make it into something like 11 multiplying 11 using 2 11s in a multiplication. And 11 times 11 is 121, right? We memorize our tables and we know that off the top of our head. And we're going to add 29 to that. So 9 plus 1 is 10, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and then we have 1 here. So 11 squared plus 29 is 150. Alright, next question. What is the sum of the largest composite number and the smallest prime number from the list below? If you want to see it in full, what is the sum of the largest composite number and the smallest prime number from the list below? So, first of all, what is a composite number and what is a prime number? So, a prime number is any number that can only be divided by 1 and itself. So, those are numbers from this list, numbers like 23. 23 can only be divided by 23 and 1. 59 is also a prime number that can only be divided by 59 and 1. We also have 17. 17 is a prime number because that can only be divided by 17 and 1. So all of those are our prime numbers in our list here, and they want us to use the smallest one, which means we'll use 17, and the largest composite number. So the composite number is just, well, composite in English means made up of several different parts. So this applying to numbers would mean it have more than 2 numbers that could divide it. So numbers like 16, which have 1 could divide it, 2 could divide it, 4 could divide it, 8 could divide it, 16 could divide it. It's more than 2 numbers. So numbers like 16, 56, and 49 actually, because 49, 1 could divide it, 49 could divide it, and 7 could divide it. So it's more than 2 for 49. 49 is a composite number, but they want the largest, so we're going to take 56. And they ask what is the sum, so that means we have to add these two wonderful numbers. 6 plus 7 is 13. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So the answer here is 73. Alright, next question. Write in the missing number from the pattern below. And again, this is an interesting pattern, but you really need to learn your square numbers. When you spend time to work out this pattern, you'll realize that there is no pattern in addition happening here. So recognizing these numbers as square numbers would go a long way in saving time. So you really have to spend time and memorize your square numbers. So 4 is actually 2 raised to the power of 2, or 2 times 2. 16 is 4 raised to the power of 2, or 4 times 4. And that's how the pattern is going. 36 is 6 raised to the power of 2, or 6 times 6. 64 now, that is 8 raised to the power of 2, or 8 times 8. And when we look at the last number at the end, that is 12 raised to the power of 2, or 12 by 12. So all of these numbers here are square numbers, but if you notice, they're only using the even square numbers. So the only even number we're missing from this list here is the 10 raised to the power of 2, or 10 by 10. And this is the pattern here. So we all know that 10 raised to the power of 2, or 10 times 10, is 100. And that's it. The number missing is 100. Alright. And that's it. Last question for today. Andrew spent 195 minutes on his PlayStation 5. How many hours did he spend playing? So we have to keep in mind that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So if it is we want to change those minutes into hours, 195 minutes make sure we have our numbers written clearly. Please write clearly so that we can understand what you write when you write. So 195 minutes, you will have to take 195 and actually divide it by 60. Alright, so we're going to take 195, we're going to do this as a fraction, put it over 60. And if you check out our Get Your Education channel right here on YouTube, you'll see we have a video explaining numbers divisible by 5. So we can use 5 to reduce these two numbers. Why? Because one ends in 5 and one ends in 0. Any number ending in 5 or 0 could be divided by 5. So 5 into 60 is 12. 5 into 1 cannot. 5 into 19 is 3. Remainder 4. 5 into 45 is 9. So what we remain with here is 39 over 12. And next, that could be reduced again. So we're going to use 3 to reduce that. 3 into 12 is 4, and 3 into 39 is 13. So we end up with 13 over 4. And that's an improper fraction. We know we cannot leave our answers as an improper fraction. So we now have to change that mixed number. 13 divided by 4. So we say 4 into 13 is 3. 4 3s are 12. So we subtract to see if we have any remainder, and our remainder is 1. So this is how you write your mixed number. You take the number on top as your whole number, then you take the remainder and you put it over the number you divided by. So Andrew spent 3¼ hours on his PlayStation 5 playing game. I hope he spent some time studying after that. But that's it. That's our study time for today. We're going to take a pause here until next time when we take a look at the remaining section 1 questions. So I really want to thank you very much for sticking out through this entire video and putting in the time to study, because we definitely have to keep preparing. Preparation is key. SEA preparation today is going to make your life a lot easier. You'll be more comfortable to face the exam come that big day. So please, if you haven't done it as yet, remember to hit subscribe. SEA Today, we bring these videos to help you prepare for your upcoming exams right here on our channel, Get Your Education. I am Andre. This is SEA Today, brought to you by A's Online Tutoring Services. Exam success at your fingertips. So thanks for joining me once again, and I will see you tomorrow.
SEA Today.